Hello, my lovely friend. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Yani, and I am so excited to be talking to you again. It has been a little while since I last uploaded, and I've missed you. I really have. I've just been busy with work, with life, with traveling, but now I'm back, and I think what better way to reintroduce myself to the channel than by doing the mid-year book Freakout tag. I am not 100% sure if that's the actual name of the tag, but whatever it is, I'll go ahead and put it up on the screen for you. And I just want to go ahead and get started. I do have my iPad behind me. That's how I'm going to be answering these questions, and let's just begin. So, quick disclaimer, I have no idea who is the originator of this tag. I honestly feel like I've seen it for years, at least a decade, so I have no idea who it is that made this tag. So many people have done it, but this is not my tag, and I am getting the questions from Reddit. So the first question: what is the best book that you've read so far in 2025? So the best book that I have read so far in 25 actually came as a super fun surprise, and it is My Husband. Unfortunately, I don't have the author's name memorized. I will be sure to put it up on the screen so you guys can see it and check it out. But this book was such a fun time. This is the kind of book that you need when you need a book that's going to pick you up and get you to the next book, especially if you read a lot of things that are big or that are heavy. This is a really good book for that. But essentially, this book is about a woman in her, I think she's in her mid-30s, and she is completely obsessed with her husband. She is just constantly like obsessed with her husband's thoughts, her husband's opinion of her, how she can be the perfect wife to her husband, to an exhausting degree, okay? Because I feel like if I were married, I wouldn't be obsessed with my husband. I think everybody wants to be obsessed with their spouse, but there is a level of unhealthy in this book that is just psychotic. And I don't use that term liberally. I do think this woman has some severe mental health issues, and I want more people to pick it up so we can read more about it. But this book is essentially following just one singular week of this woman's life in her headspace, and I'm exhausted. I was exhausted reading it, and I'm just like, this is 1 week of this woman's life. Can't imagine what it is to be this woman, because she is just so completely and totally consumed with her husband, and everything revolving her husband, and even down to who she is as a person comes down to what's going to appeal more to my husband. And it's very, very interesting. And what makes it even more fun is that I did not see the ending coming. The end does have a bit of a plot twist, and I tend to pick up on where things are going, and I did not pick this up. And it was just a really fun time. It was very fast paced for me to read, and it really picked up my year as far as my reading goes. So that so far has to be the best book that I've read, both from an entertainment standpoint and just it's like a thrilling standpoint. This is definitely a thriller, which I don't read much of, but it was so good, and I think it would make a very interesting adaptation. The second question: what has been your favorite sequel of the first half of the year? This is where I expose myself and the fact that I have not done as much reading as I would like to do. I have not read any sequels this entire year at all. I've only picked up books that are standalones. I haven't continued in any of the series that I'm currently in the middle of, but in the second half of the year, I would really like to read Morningstar by Pierce Brown. That's the third book in the Red Rising series. That's the next one that I have to read. I already own a copy. I have access to the audiobook, which is my preference for reading these particular stories. And that's a 5-star anticipation for me. I definitely think it's going to be one of those like favorite books of the year, but I haven't read it yet. So that's doesn't technically answer this question because I haven't read any sequels so far, but that's definitely one that I want to get to this year, and that you know, probably will be the only sequel that I read this year, just because I don't read a lot of series. So none, but looking forward to reading Morning Star by Pierce Brown. If you don't know what the Red Rising series is about, it's about this man named Darrow who lives in a class society, but it's actually a society within the solar systems, and he's of the lowest rank. And some things happen and he goes up in the rank, and some more things happen, and that's pretty much all I'm going to say. But if you have more interest, I did actually do a book haul a couple of months ago where I hauled the entire series and I gave a much more detailed explanation as to what that series is about, and I will make sure to link it down below if you want to check it out. Third question, is there a new release that you haven't read yet but you're really excited to? Yes, there's a ton of new releases, but the way this year has been going so quickly, I have no idea if these books came out this year or last year. Honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and list them just because they're still new releases, or at least they've been released within the last year. So Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors is one that I actually already own, and I think I had started reading like 3 or 4 pages or chapters, but the book's about grief and I just wasn't in the headspace for that. But I loved Cleopatra and Frankenstein, so that's definitely up there on the list of new releases that I want to read. I need to, hold on, I want to check if it came out 2025 or if this is like a completely invalid answer. Blue Sisters came out May of last year, so that doesn't count. Another new release that I want to read is, I think it's called All Fours. Let me see, I'm failing at this, oh my gosh. All Fours, when did this come out? Came out May of last year, so there's a lot of new releases from 2024, clearly. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to look up a list of new releases of 2025 and see if I even know any of them. I do not pay attention to publication year. If there's an author that I'm really interested in and they have a new book coming out, I tend to know that, which is how I know about Blue Sisters, but I don't otherwise really recognize the new releases. Actually, I just thought of a book and I own it, and it's called The Unworthy by Agustina. I have to look it up. And this is the author who wrote Tender is the Flesh. I swear, if I look this up and it came out May of last year, I don't know. Came out March of this year. Yes, okay, so that is my official answer that I'm clocking in. The Unworthy by Agustina Bazterrica, and that is a book about a cult, and that is all I know. That's definitely one of those books that I have that I intend to go reading kind of blindly. But I would actually really love, because it's a super short book, I would love to make a reading vlog, just reading it, binging it. I think that would be super exciting. So that's something that you may have to look forward to around the spooky months. But that is one of the books that came out this year that I'm most anticipated to read. Now, I'm not sure if the question is talking about books that are still not out, that are going to be coming out, but it was a struggle to get to this answer, so this is the answer that I'm giving. Okay, so yes and no to the question that I had asked previously. What is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? Let me look up a list of books coming out the second half of this year. One moment. Shout out to this blog called Book Enthusiast, who put out a list of 52 books coming out that I need to know about. No, it's for paid subscribers. Can we talk about that? How do we feel about a paywall? Obviously, if this is somebody's blog, they deserve to get paid, but give me a teaser, give me something. Let's keep looking. Okay guys, I'm sorry, I don't think I can answer this question. It is way too difficult to find the list, and it's even more difficult to give you an authentic answer based off quick summaries I'm reading of random lists that were generated online. So unfortunately, I will have to skip this question. However, if there is a book that is coming out in this later half of 2025 that you're interested in, please tell me about it. Clearly, I need more things on my radar, and I promise to check it out. Next question. We're doing great, guys. What is your biggest disappointment so far? My biggest disappointment is going to disappoint a lot of people, but Big Swiss. I was not a super huge fan of that book. So this made the rounds everywhere, and this is about a woman who is a transcriber for a sex therapist. She's just listening to these therapy sessions and writing them down because a therapist wants to write a book. And within that, she starts listening to the therapy sessions of this woman that she calls Big Swiss, and she becomes very infatuated with her. And then one day she's out in public and she kind of recognizes her voice and uses the information that she knows about Big Swiss in therapy to befriend her and get close to her in life. And I'm not a fan. So I thought the concept was very interesting, very unique. I believe that it had a lot of potential, but the characters sucked. Our main character sucked so much. She sucked. Like, she's the kind of person that gets punched in the face and you're kind of just like, she had it coming. And then our other character, Big Swiss, she sucked as well in a different way. She was a lot more bearable. And I know there's a lot of people who like unlikable characters, and that's fine. I can definitely get behind an unlikable character. I do not need to like every single character. I understand that. But there is a difference between unlikable and insufferable, and I found this character to be insufferable. And that was just such a letdown after hearing people rave about how excellent this book is. So that definitely immediately comes to mind as my first answer for this question. The next question is asking me what my biggest surprise was. And I'm really trying to reflect on everything that I have read this year, and I'm just like, did anything surprise me? I did already say that My Husband was the best book I've read so far this year, but that book really did surprise me, not just because I wasn't anticipating liking it so much, but also the plot twist at the end I was not anticipating. So honestly, that was both the best book so far and the biggest surprise so far as well. Next question. I feel like I am not doing great, but it's okay. A book that made you cry. A book has not made me cry this year. There's not a book to make me cry every single year. It's a very rare occasion that a book makes me cry. The last book that made me cry, I think, was in 2023, and that's because I read this book called The Guest Cat, and I shed some very, very heavy tears, but that was a book about a cat. So no answer for that one. A book that made you happy. I have to go back actually to the list of books that I read to see if there were any books that made me happy. I don't know if this is cheating, but I'm going to say a book that I'm actually currently reading. So I'm currently reading 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think. It's nonfiction. I've actually so far this year have read more nonfiction than I usually do, especially by this point this year. In essence, it's a book to challenge your thoughts and perspectives, and obviously 101 essays aren't going to all change your mind, but the goal is out of 101, at least a couple do, and a lot of the essays are challenging your ideas of self and what it means to be happy and how to be happy. And I think that just kind of aligns with this question very well. So that is what I'm going to answer for a book that's made me happy. I'm still reading it, but they are mini essays, so I've concluded enough of them to think that it applies. So. And the last question is, what books do you want to read by the end of the year? I love this question because I tend to really read a lot more towards the last half of the year than the beginning. I don't know why. It's a pattern. So I do anticipate getting through a lot more books. Now, I told you that I'm reading 101 Essays to Change the Way You Think. I'm also in the middle of the Poisonwood Bible, which I am really, really loving. And I think if that momentum continues, it'll be one of my favorites. I am planning to buddy read Beloved with two of my close friends next month. I think that's going to be a really interesting book to read as well. I mentioned The Unworthy. I do really want to read The Unworthy. I think that's going to be interesting. Morning Star, I also mentioned wanting to get to. Sisters, I want to get to. I really want to read some Virginia Woolf. I've been mentioning Virginia Woolf in so many of my videos, and I still have not read Miss Virginia, so I look forward to reading that as well. And there's a couple of books of nonfiction that I really want to get to as well. There's one book in particular that I don't remember the name of. I'm sorry, I don't know what good it does for me to bring it up. I'll insert an image here and maybe put up a brief description because I am so blanking right now. But yeah, those are some of the books that I'm really looking forward to getting to the rest of this year. And that is it for all the questions. Overall, I'm really just happy to finally be back to talk to you guys. I really do feel like it's been too long. I'm excited to be back and to hear from you guys. I really want to know what your answers to these questions are. I will see you guys next time. Bye.